There's a particular kind of heartbreak that cuts deeper than most. It's not just the pain of losing someone, it's the pain of realizing the intimacy you thought meant connection didn't mean the same to them at all. You believed every moment mattered, that when they held you close, it was because they saw you, not just because they needed someone to hold. You thought the way they kissed you was a language of love. The way they lingered with you in the quiet hours was proof you were chosen. But now, looking back, you see it differently. They weren't always reaching for you because they wanted you. Sometimes they were reaching because they wanted comfort. And that hurts in a way that's hard to explain, because you didn't just give them your body. You gave them your trust, your vulnerability, your unguarded self. We're taught that intimacy brings people closer. That if you give someone your heart, your honesty, and your body, they will feel the same bond you do. And for a while, it's easy to believe that's true. The late night laughter, the feeling of their hand finding yours under the covers, the way their presence wrapped around you like safety. It feels like love because it looks like love. But intimacy can blur the lines. It can make desire feel like devotion. It can make loneliness feel like connection. It can make someone who isn't ready to love you seem like they do, simply because they crave what you give them in that moment. For you, every moment carried weight. The way their voice softened when they said your name, the rhythm of their breathing against your chest, the quiet after, when you thought, this is home, this is us. But for them, it may have been something else entirely. Not a bond, but a break from their own emptiness. Not love, but the relief of not feeling alone for a while. And when that truth sinks in, it's not just disappointment, it's betrayal. Not the loud, obvious kind, but the quiet kind that seeps into your chest and makes you question everything. Most people don't talk about this kind of pain. They'll tell you it was just physical, like that's supposed to make it easier. But you know it wasn't just physical, because you don't love halfway. You don't let someone in without giving them all of you. And when you do that, every touch feels like a promise, even if the other person never intended to keep it. That's why losing them feels like they took something that wasn't theirs to take. It's not just about their absence, it's about the parts of you that feel missing because they left with them. Here's what you need to remember. The problem was never that you loved too deeply or too soon. The problem was that they didn't know what to do with the depth you offered. They weren't equipped to meet you at the level you lived at, where love isn't casual and connection isn't temporary. And the most dangerous thing about intimacy is that your body can't always tell the difference between I love you and I need you right now. The same touch that says I'm committed to you can also mean I just want to feel close tonight. For someone like you, those moments build a story. For someone like them, they may just be pages they never intended to finish. It's tempting to go back and dissect every detail, searching for clues. The times they pulled away emotionally but stayed close physically. The moments they avoided deeper conversations but never avoided your touch. The red flags you see now, glowing brighter in hindsight. But even if you had noticed, it wouldn't have changed who you are. You are someone who believes in love. You are someone who gives fully. And that's not a weakness, that's a rare strength in a world full of people who hold back. Others are quiet, slow realizations that the closeness you felt was not shared. And it's in those quiet heartbreaks where you learn one of the most important truths. Closeness is not the same as connection. It's hard to accept that someone could be so close to you, yet so far away in their heart. That they could share your bed, your laughter, your secrets, and still be a stranger to the depth of what you felt for them. And the hardest part isn't that they didn't love you back. It's that you couldn't tell the difference until it was over. Your heart wasn't wrong for believing it was real. It was responding to the signals it understood, the warmth of their skin, the safety in their arms, the tenderness in their voice. Your body read it as love, because that's what it wanted it to be. And when you want something to be true badly enough, your mind will gather every scrap of evidence to prove it's real. Touch has a way of bypassing logic. It quiets your doubt. It silences the part of you that wonders if they're truly there for you, because in those moments they are there physically. And for someone who values depth, presence feels like proof. But presence isn't the same as devotion. Anyone can be there in the moments they crave closeness. The real question is whether they're there when it's inconvenient, when it requires effort, when there's nothing in it for them. That's the difference between being wanted and being valued. Being wanted is temporary. It changes with moods, needs, and loneliness. Being valued is enduring. It doesn't disappear when circumstances shift. Looking back, maybe there were signs. The way their attention seemed sharper when they were in need, but faded when you were. The way their tenderness peaked in private, but their commitment faded in the every. At the time, it all felt like love. Now you see it for what it was, comfort, not connection. And that's the painful truth most people avoid. You can feel deeply bonded to someone who was never truly bonded to you. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference between real emotional safety and temporary emotional relief. It reacts the same way, releasing the same chemicals, creating the same attachment. That's why losing them feels like withdrawal. You weren't just losing a person, you were losing the emotional high of feeling wanted, even if it was fleeting. It's why you still find yourself missing them at night, even though you know they weren't good for you. It's not just them you miss, it's the version of yourself you felt you could be when they were gone. It stays in the way someone still cares for you, even when there's nothing to gain. It shows up in how they remember your needs, not just in how they respond to theirs. Comfort fades when it serves its purpose. Connection remains because it's not about the moment, it's about the person. You didn't fail by believing in them. You simply loved in the way you were meant to, fully, openly, with no walls. And that's a rare thing, but loving deeply doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means recognizing when your depth is being met and when it's only being touched, not matched. This isn't about closing yourself off. It's about learning to see the difference between someone who touches you to soothe themselves and someone who touches you because they're committed to you. One will leave when their need is met. The other will stay because you are their need. The healing comes when you stop asking why they didn't love you the way you loved them and start asking why you thought their version of love was enough. Because once you see that it wasn't, you stop chasing the same kind of closeness with different faces. You start waiting for something that feels steady, not just intense. And that's when love stops feeling like a gamble and starts feeling like home. It gives you just enough to quiet your fears, but never enough to truly satisfy them. It's like being given sips of water when you're thirsty. Relief in the moment, but never enough to end the thirst. And when you've been without real connection for a while, those sips can feel like a flood. You mistake the temporary fullness for something lasting. You convince yourself that if you hold on long enough, they'll start to feel what you feel. But love that has to be convinced isn't love that can be trusted. If you think back carefully, you'll notice how the moments you cherished most often came when they were at their weakest, when they were stressed, lonely, or looking for comfort. They came to you because you were safe. You were warmth in human form. You gave them a place to land when the world felt heavy. And while that speaks volumes about your heart, it also reveals something about theirs. They were drawn to your shelter, but they were never ready to build one with you. This is why it's so important to learn the difference between being a safe place and being a chosen place. A safe place is somewhere people come to feel better. A chosen place is where they decide to stay, even when they don't need to be there. You deserve to be someone's chosen place, not their break from the storm, but their home after it. And it's that subtle gap, the one between how they made you feel and what they were actually offering, that caused the deepest cut. It remembers the way their hand rested on your back, the sound of their laughter mixing with yours, the way they looked at you in dim light. It's these little snapshots that make moving on so hard, because they were real, but they weren't the whole truth. Those moments were honest in themselves, but they didn't add up to the kind of love you thought you were building. They were fragments, not a foundation. Not to believe that because someone gave you pieces of intimacy, they were offering you a complete bond. That's where discernment comes in. You start looking beyond how someone makes you feel in a single night and pay attention to how they show up across many days. You notice whether they are only present when they need you or whether they're still there when you need them. It's painful but liberating to realize that some people love the feeling of being close to you more than they love you. That's not your fault. And it doesn't mean you have to stop being the kind of person who gives deeply. It just means you'll no longer give deeply to those who only take shallowly. When you reach that understanding, you stop chasing the highs of temporary closeness and start demanding the steadiness of true connection. You stop mistaking someone reaching for you out of loneliness as a sign of love. You start seeing clearly who is there because they choose you, not because they need you in the moment. That clarity changes everything. It doesn't make you colder, it makes you wiser. And with that wisdom comes the ability to love in a way that's still open but no longer blind. Healing from this kind of heartbreak isn't just about letting go of the person, it's about reclaiming the pieces of yourself you left in their hands. Because whether you realize it or not, you gave them more than moments. You gave them the parts of you that believed love was safe in their arms. And when they walked away, it can feel like they carried those parts with them, but they didn't. Those parts are still yours. They're just buried under the weight of disappointment, waiting for you to pull them back into the light. You do that by redefining what intimacy means to you, by deciding that it's not just about how someone touches your skin, but about how they hold your heart. It's not just about the moments they make you feel wanted, but about the days and weeks and years they make you feel chosen. You do it by asking the harder questions when someone enters your life. Not, do they desire me, but do they value me? Not, do they need me right now, but will they stand beside me when they don't? Because real love won't leave you wondering where you stand. It won't leave you clinging to fleeting moments as proof of something deeper. It will be obvious. It will be steady. It will show up on days when passion is quiet and life feels ordinary, just as much as it does when the world feels romantic and full of sparks. That's the kind of closeness that heals instead of hurts, the kind that deepens with time instead of disappearing when the moment passes. One day, you'll meet someone who doesn't just reach for you when they need comfort. They'll reach for you because you are their comfort, their choice, their constant. And you'll feel the difference immediately, because it won't just be in their touch, it will be in their presence. It will be in the way they remember your small details, in the way they show up even when it's hard, in the way they protect what you've built together. And when that happens, you'll understand why this heartbreak had to happen. You'll see that it wasn't the end of your ability to love, it was the beginning of your ability to love better. So don't let this experience convince you to close your heart. Let it teach you to keep it open, but guarded by wisdom, to keep it tender, but no longer given to those who only want the warmth without the work. Because you deserve more than someone's temporary comfort. You deserve someone's lasting connection, and that's worth waiting for. Healing from this kind of heartbreak isn't just about letting go of the person. It's about reclaiming the parts of yourself you placed in their hands without realizing it. Because when you gave them your closeness, you didn't just give them moments, you gave them trust. You gave them the soft, unguarded parts of you that believed love was safe here. And when they walked away, it didn't just feel like rejection, it felt like they took those parts of you with them. But here's the truth, they didn't. Those parts are still yours. They're just buried right now, under layers of hurt, confusion, and the lies your mind whispers when it's in pain. Lies like, I wasn't enough, or if I had been different, they would have stayed. The first step in healing is calling those lies out, because the end of something doesn't always mean you failed. Sometimes it means you outgrew what was too small for you. Sometimes it means you were ready for something deeper, and life removed what couldn't meet you there. When you see it like that, you realize that what you lost wasn't the love of your life. It was the version of you who was willing to settle for crumbs, because crumbs were all you'd been offered before. This is where the real work begins. You start to redefine intimacy, not as the rush of skin on skin, but as the quiet safety of knowing someone's soul is with you even when they're not in the room. You begin to value the kind of love that's consistent, the kind that shows up in both the fireworks and the silent. Ask yourself, when someone enters my life, am I only asking if they desire me? Or am I asking if they value me? When they touch me, am I only feeling their passion, or am I sensing their commitment? Because desire without respect is a spark in the wind, bright for a moment, gone in the next. Commitment without desire feels cold, mechanical and empty. But when both exist together, when someone chooses you every day and still burns for you, that's when love becomes unshakable. One thing you'll notice as you heal is that you stop feeling drawn to the people who only offer temporary comfort. You'll recognize their patterns earlier, the way they come close when they're lonely, but drift when they're fulfilled. the way they make promises in the heat of the moment but never build a life to back them up. And this time, instead of clinging to them, you'll feel a quiet, confident no rise in your chest. Not an angry, bitter no, but a calm one, the kind that comes from finally knowing your worth. Because the truth is, love isn't something you feel, it's something you build. And the people who are meant for you will want to build it with you brick by brick, day after day. They won't just show up when the night is soft and the mood is perfect. They'll show up when you're tired, when life is messy, when there's nothing glamorous to gain from being there except you. Think about the kind of connection you dream of. Not just the chemistry, anyone can create that for a night. I mean the bond. The kind where you don't have to guess how they feel because their actions make it obvious. The kind where even on quiet mornings when you're just drinking coffee together in silence, you still feel safe, seen, and wanted. That's the kind of intimacy that heals instead of hurts. It doesn't leave you wondering if you'll see them tomorrow. It doesn't make you measure your worth by how much they reach for you in the dark. It doesn't disappear when the moment passes. And here's the most beautiful part. One day you will meet someone like that. Someone who doesn't just reach for you when they need comfort, but reaches for you because you are their comfort. Someone who doesn't only want the warmth of your body, but the depth of your mind and the truth of your soul. They'll hold space for all of you, your joy, your pain, your dreams, your flaws, without making you feel like you have to earn it. You'll feel the difference instantly. It won't just be in the way they touch you, it will be in the way they see you, in the way they listen without rushing you, in the way they remember the little things you thought no one noticed, in the way they make you feel chosen even when the world is offering them 100 other options. And when that happens, you'll look back on this heartbreak, not with longing, but with gratitude, because you'll see that it was never meant to break you, it was meant to prepare you. It was the universe's way of making sure you didn't settle in a place you were never meant to stay. You'll understand that this wasn't the end of your capacity to love. It was the beginning of your ability to love better, with clarity, with boundaries, and with a deeper respect for yourself. So no, don't let this experience convince you to close your heart. Let it teach you to open it with discernment, to keep it tender but not unguarded, to give deeply, but only to those who give deeply in return. Because you were never meant to be someone's temporary escape. You were meant to be someone's permanent home. And that kind of love, it's worth every second of waiting.